It's Friday, March 18th, and this is now on HNN.
I believe he's a psycho killer.
Two California men talk about meeting Juan Baron while on vacation, and they give us new details about the Hawaii Loa Ridge murder suspect.
President Biden spoke with China's president to warn against helping with Russia's war on Ukraine. I'm Natalie Brand at the White House with what Russia has reportedly asked of China.
It's definitely not cancel culture.
Canceling Captain Cook? A resolution seeks to rename a South Kona town.
You do want to shop early.
These stories, plus a look at the hot new toys hitting stores this year. That's coming up on This Is Now.
Honolulu police are investigating a deadly shooting that took place early this morning in the Tantalus area. Police said it happened around 1:45 a.m. at a scenic lookout off Round Top Drive. According to police, the suspect pointed a gun at one of the victims, an 18-year-old man, and demanded his property. The victim was with a group of friends at the time. Another victim, also 18, tried to shield the first victim and drew a firearm. The suspect then shot the second victim before fleeing the scene. The teen that died was taken to the hospital in a private vehicle. The incident did not appear to be random, according to officials.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for watching This Is Now. Now on to our other top story. Two Bay Area men say they are shocked and relieved. That's because a young man they met recently while on vacation here in Hawaii was arrested in that brutal Hawaii Loa Ridge murder, and the pair says they unknowingly went to the home, which is now a crime scene.
Ronald Wu and Mohammed Dowdy's recent vacation in Hawaii is something they'll remember forever, and not just because of the scuba diving. On one of their nights out, they met 23-year-old Juan Theodore Baron. They liked him immediately.
Since I'm in Hawaii and I want to make friends, and he seems very nice, actually.
We just danced with him, we drank.
They became fast friends, going to brunch and hanging out on the beach. On the third day, Theodore Baron invited them over to what he told them was his house.
We didn't notice anything except that there's like a bar on the bedrooms, like you can just enter easily. And I was observing everything. We went to the balcony of the house.
Less than a week after they left, that house in the Hawaii Loa Ridge community became a crime scene. HPD discovered the body of 73-year-old Gary Ruby, the homeowner, in a bathtub covered in concrete. Their new friend, Juan Theodore Baron, was wanted for murder. Ronald and Mohammed were already back in the Bay Area, but another friend, Scott Hannon, had joined them in Hawaii but decided to stay an extra week with Baron. Police initially believed Hannon was involved in the crime. He's on security camera here in this video, walking around the Waikiki Grand Hotel with Baron. Ronald and Mohammed say they're sure he had nothing to do with the murder, and HPD is now saying the same thing.
He's a very close friend of mine, and I even invited him to Hawaii and paid for the trip.
Meanwhile, Theodore Baron fled and was arrested in Anaheim, California, hiding under a seat on a Greyhound bus bound for Mexico.
I believe he's a psycho killer because who would stay in that place for more than weeks with a dead body there?
And casually invite people over and casually hang out with everyone as if nothing happened.
Theodore Baron is still in custody in Los Angeles, but he is expected to be brought back to Hawaii to face murder charges.
That was one of several high-profile murder cases on Oahu that has some in the community on edge. Hawaii's violent crimes have even made national news lately. HPD has not released statistics from last year, but so far this year, 8 people were murdered on Oahu compared to 19 in all of 2020, a COVID year with shutdowns. The number usually comes in around 24. President Biden held a call with China's president this morning about Russia's war on Ukraine. The two leaders spoke for almost 2 hours. Natalie Brand has more.
Heavy shelling in Ukraine's capital of Kyiv killed at least one person Friday. Russian forces also struck an aircraft repair plant near Poland's border in the western city of Lviv. The city hall displayed more than 100 empty baby strollers, representing each child killed since the start of the war.
На своей земле.
Russian state TV showed President Vladimir Putin at a stadium rally, saying his country will prevail, though Pentagon and Ukrainian officials say his military remains largely stalled. The U.S. is also pushing back on the Kremlin's claims of using fighters from the Middle East.
We've seen little evidence of recruiting in Syria to bring people back to Ukraine. Not saying it couldn't happen, and I'm not saying that one or two or three or four haven't gone.
At a United Nations Security Council meeting, the U.S. ambassador described Russia's assertions of a bioweapons lab in Ukraine as, quote, malarkey.
Russia's calling for this meeting is a potential false flag effort in action.
Russia has also asked China for help, and today, in a nearly 2-hour-long phone call, President Biden detailed the consequences to Chinese President Xi Jinping should China give material support to Russia.
China has to make a decision for themselves about where they want to stand and how they want the history books to look at them and view their actions.
Friday, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin visited with U.S. and NATO troops serving in Slovakia and Bulgaria. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Want to introduce you now to a Ukrainian family that came to Hawaii on vacation, but now has no clue of when they will be going back home or what they will even be going back to. Here's Mahealani Richardson with their story.
The Prischak family had vacationed in Hawaii several times before the pandemic, and it was the first time they had been back in 2 years. But a week after they got to Oahu, Russia invaded Ukraine.
It's the best place in the world.
The Prischak family arrived in Hawaii to enjoy their favorite beaches and fresh island fish. But a week into their vacation, Russia bombarded major cities in Ukraine.
We began to call all our friends, all our relatives, wake up because Russia invade Ukraine.
It was Europe's first war in decades, leaving this family stranded in the middle of the Pacific.
We don't believe that why Russia and Ukraine was friendly countries and Putin like Hitler, it's the same.
Vasily and Marina Prischak own a cosmetics production company and live in central Kyiv with their daughters, 16-year-old Maria, 10-year-old Sofia, and 5-year-old Ksenia. They've made contact with loved ones, but there's no answer from the Ukrainian embassy, and their bank accounts are frozen. Their home near a Ukrainian military station has been under attack, so they don't know if it's still standing.
It was awful. Honestly, I didn't expect it, and we didn't realize that we lost everything.
Marina tells us she's trying to be strong for her children, but it's clearly difficult.
We want peace and to return home. It's the main our wish.
Hawaii's canoe paddling community is helping the family with expenses, but they need more.
It's amazing. I appreciate all the people who are trying to help us.
With an uncertain future, the Prischaks are planning to stay here indefinitely, but hope the war ends soon so they can return to their beloved country.
The family has until the end of the month in their current lodging, and their tourist visas expire in August, so they're hoping to get temporary protected status in the United States. Meanwhile, friends have set up a GoFundMe account, and you can find a link on our website. Mahealani Richardson, Hawaii News Now.
Samoa will go under lockdown this weekend after the island nation's first case of community-transmitted COVID-19. NPR reports that the community case is a woman who tested positive during required testing before an international flight. The Prime Minister of Samoa says schools, gyms, and bars will close today. Shops and other services can operate until midnight Saturday when the nationwide lockdown begins. The lockdown lasts until at least Tuesday. Samoa has only reported 48 cases through the whole pandemic and no fatalities. All of those cases, until this community transmitted one, were caught in quarantine.
Just 1 week from today, Hawaii's last remaining COVID restrictions will be dropped. That includes the indoor mask mandate, which expires at 11:59 p.m. on March 25th, nearly 2 years after it was first issued. It's a milestone for Hawaii, which is the only state in the nation that still has a statewide mandate. But masks will still be required in some places, like public school classrooms. Private businesses can also choose to require face coverings. Keep in mind that there's still a federal mask mandate that runs through mid-April for public transportation and transit hubs like the airport. Hawaii's Safe Travels program is also ending next Friday, but only for domestic travelers. Still, this is expected to boost our tourism numbers. Also going away, the vaccine and test requirements for government employees and visitors to state facilities. Gas prices actually fell back overnight, a little. We're talking about 2 cents a gallon here, but down is still better than up. Honolulu regular is at about $5.02 at last check. Hilo, $5.15. Kahului, $5.29. And on the Garden Isle, it's running at about $5.27. Las Vegas gas is still more expensive than here. Los Angeles and San Francisco is running about 90 cents more.
There's an effort underway at the state legislature to restore the original name of the small town of Captain Cook in South Kona. Some call it cancel culture, some say who cares what you call it, just change the name. Ben Gutierrez has the story.
The town got its name when the Captain Cook Sugar Company opened a post office there in the early 1900s. Some feel it's an honor for a controversial figure who doesn't deserve it.
Captain Cook was a place far before Captain Cook the explorer came in and found Hawaii. Hawaii was a community, a culture, has a rich history, and we're honoring that by returning Captain Cook back to its place named Kaaloa.
State Representative Jean Capella was raised in the small town, named after British explorer James Cook, the first known European to reach the Hawaiian Islands. After a grand welcome, things quickly soured, and this monument at Kealakekua Bay marks the area where Cook was killed by angry Hawaiians. 243 years later, Capella has introduced a resolution requesting the U.S. Census Bureau to rename the town of Captain Cook to its original name of Kawa'aloa, meaning long landing place. The idea has strong support.
It's about time. For me, it's about time that we look at our traditional Hawaiian names for these places, because once we make these changes, those names are lost. We don't need to name a town after it, and we really need to reclaim our own history.
But others say changing the name of the town would lead people to forget that dark chapter in history.
I'm not really happy with cancel culture, and this is one example of, hey, let's erase it and forget about who Captain Cook was. No, we need to remember who he was so we won't have mistakes like that made again in the future.
It's definitely not cancel culture, and there is the Captain Cook Monument that will still stand when this name is changed.
Some name changes are easier than others. A year ago, McKinley High School alumni squashed a name change measure proposed because President McKinley had a role in overthrowing the Hawaiian monarchy. But Central Middle School just switched to Princess Ruth Ke'elikolani Middle School with no problem.
I do approve personally of haole names being made Hawaiian names again, because everywhere in the Hawaiian Islands there were Hawaiian names.
More people are now calling Barbers Point Kalailoa. Diamond Head is becoming Le'ahi again, and Chinaman's Hat is Mokuli'i. DeSoto Brown expects the list to keep growing.
We're going in that direction, and it may go slowly, it may become official, it may not, but it's a process, and I think we're getting there.
The resolution has been approved by the House Culture, Arts, and International Affairs Committee. It now moves on to the Judiciary and Hawaiian Affairs Committee. Ben Gutierrez, Hawaii News Now.
This Sunday, you're invited to say goodbye to former UH football great Colt Brennan. It's been nearly a year since Brennan's death, and his former coach, June Jones, is inviting the public to a memorial and paddle-out ceremony in Waikiki, where he and others will reminisce about their perfect season in 2007 and the impact Colt had on the entire state.
And all the things he did for the people, he never said no to anybody. I can remember he'd be in a restaurant right over here at Duke's, sitting there, and all of a sudden 100 people being in line, and he'd sign every autograph. And it's just the type of heart he had for Hawaii.
That ceremony begins at 8 a.m. Sunday in front of Duke's restaurant. We plan on bringing you live coverage of this event on our H&N digital platforms. Turning now to troubling new details regarding that deadly, fiery crash in Texas that killed 9 people, including 7 members of a college golf team. Morgan Chesky brings us this update.
Federal investigators now saying a young child was driving the vehicle that struck the team's van in the fiery and fatal collision.
A 13-year-old child was behind the wheel of the pickup truck.
NTSB agents say sitting next to the child in the pickup's passenger seat was 38-year-old Henrik Siemens of Seminole, Texas. Both died at the scene.
We don't speculate on anything. It was very clearly a high-speed, head-on collision between 2 heavy vehicles.
The speed limit on the highway, 75 miles per hour. Investigators also revealing new evidence that suggests a failed spare tire may have contributed to the pickup swerving into the oncoming lane.
It appears, at this point in the investigation, that the left front tire, which was a spare tire, had failed, which resulted in the vehicle pulling hard to the left and crossing into the opposing lane.
The parents of 22-year-old student Jackson Zinn, who died at the scene, shocked, but say the findings don't change how they feel.
We lost our son, and he was great, and that's what we want to focus on. That's what we're all about here, is getting his story out. We're so proud of him.
The community at New Mexico's University of the Southwest devastated.
Our institution is crushed and broken, but strong.
But this morning, some hope. Teammates Dayton Price and Hayden Underhill, the only survivors, are both stable and slowly improving in a Lubbock, Texas hospital.
Thanks, Morgan, for that update on that tragic story. We want to switch gears now and take you live outside to get you an update on your weekend weather. We're going to turn things over to Billy V.
North Shore 5 to 7 feet, 3 to 5 over on the west side, 2 to 4. That is more of a trade wind swell. It's going to be kind of sloppy, choppy over there on the east side. As far as your forecast goes, 7 days today, tomorrow, same thing. East northeasterly winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Nice, comfortable. We start to lose the trade winds on Sunday. We've got a frontal system that's coming, so Monday's kind of like the calm before the storm. Possible thunderstorms and, of course, breezy conditions after that. Once again, after that front system passes through, winds will be trades 20 to 30 miles per hour. Get the latest on air, online, on your mobile device, and at HawaiiNewsNow.com.
Well, the holidays are still 9 months away, and that's a lot of time for kids to anticipate the arrival of new toys. Elise Preston has a sneak peek of what will be on those wish lists.
You can take to the sky, splash down in water, and drive around indoors.
From the high-flying Hydroquad drone to a 40th anniversary Care Bear, a wide variety of new toys will be hitting store shelves this year. That includes this panda. OMG! It's from the new movie Turning Red. In it, a teenager deals with new emotions that are also expressed in the toy.
Toys that help children recognize their feelings and then know how to deal with them.
Lori Schacht from the Toy Insider says the new Go Pop Jumbo can help kids get their fidget fix, or it can be played as a game with a friend.
Are we tied? Oh, no, we both have. Okay, now I won.
This guinea pig called Mama Surprise makes 30 different sounds. When the heart glows, children place the pet in its hutch. 15 minutes later,
wow, it's a surprise baby.
Mama Surprise will be available in August. Other new toys hit the market this fall. Last year, supply chain issues made it difficult for parents to get certain holiday toys. Schacht says that could be the case again this year.
You do want to shop early because we don't know what the holiday season is going to look like yet.
Buying sooner rather than later is the best advice for guaranteeing those must-have toys are all wrapped up. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
40 years of Care Bear? Wow, getting old.
As old as us.
Yeah. Now the kids have Mama Surprise. Cute toy. All right, guys, have you heard about those new emojis yet? More than
Let's see 'em.
100 of them released with Apple's new update of its iOS. Now at 15.4. That's also crazy that we're at 15.4 of updates. So here's some of the stranger ones, and we'll help you translate them. So the troll, brand new, adding to a whole list of fantasy emojis. I think I've seen a wizard in there. The troll, many say, represents a shift in moods to like goblin mode or goblin mood. You know, like you've stayed in the house for days and days, you haven't showered, and you're willing to admit, like, hey, I'm a troll. You know.
I don't know if I'd use that one.
Or
but
like internet troll. I get it. Like, you know, you could call someone an internet troll, right? Moving on. Disco ball. My favorite of the new ones. So you can spice up a party invitation or just add some, you know, some flair to your captions on Instagram. It will go nicely with my favorite emoji that I use all the time, the disco dancing man.
Right. Mm-hmm.
All right. The slide. Many are taking it as like slide into the weekend or slide into my DMs. And then the melting face, which some say is literal, like my AC is broken and it's hot in here. Or others like me, maybe today, that went out on St. Patrick's Day, are feeling a little melty face emoji.
But still smiling.
Still smiling, and honestly, I don't know, I had a great St. Patrick's Day.
Good.
Yeah, it was so much fun. And home by 8:30. So I'm feeling good.
Awesome. Well, it turns out Disneyland isn't the happiest place on Earth. It's actually Finland. So for the 5th year in a row, the Nordic nation takes the top spot on the list of happiest countries from the World Happiness Report. Now, it's based on life evaluations from the Gallup World Poll, including healthy life expectancy, GDP per capita, social support in times of trouble, low corruption, high social trust. You guys get it. Generosity was a big one, though, a community where people look out for each other. And if you were wondering, the U.S. ranked 16th on the list.
Oh, that's where the melty face emoji came in. All right, guys, have you heard of this brand new show coming to KHNL? Well, you're about to. Mark Barger has a preview of American Song Contest.
All right.
This soundstage in Hollywood is quiet right now, but come Monday night, it'll spring to life for the start of American Song Contest.
It's almost like a sports event, you know, like with music. It's amazing, and everybody has a team to kind of root for.
Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg are co-hosting the live competition, which is modeled after the long-running Eurovision Song Contest. But instead of country versus country, it's every U.S. state and territory competing against each other.
America is just full of talent, no matter where you look, no matter what state you go to.
There's one act for each state and territory.
Represent Wyoming in anything would be cool for me.
Here I am, you know, from Puerto Rico, with a lot of pride, representing my music, my country, my people.
The competition cuts across a variety of music styles and genres, but the key is they're all singing original songs.
I'm here to, you know, bring the funk, bring the blues, bring the soul, and make sure you feel good.
It's just a real human being just singing from their heart with a real song that means something to them.
Most of the performers are unknown to America, like a K-pop singer from Oklahoma.
People were like, oh, so you're not a country singer? And I'm like, no, sir, no, ma'am, I am not. I am a K-pop artist.
But some acts are known, like Alaska's Jewel and Connecticut's Michael Bolton.
I'll be nervous and excited at the same time. Mainly, I'll be ready.
As an 8-week quest begins for Best Hit Song.
If I win, I mean, that would just be a dream come true. It'd be everything I worked for.
Someone's work will soon pay off. Mark Barger, NBC News.
Wow, that looks fun.
You have to compete against Jewel?
Yeah, that's tough. She's good.
How's that fair?
You guys, we'll be talking a lot more about that show coming up on Monday on KHNL ourselves, right here on This Is Now. Have a good one.
Happy weekend.